Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a former Floyd County educator was sentenced for sexual assault charges. And a bill to keep children safe from adult businesses and performances is receiving backlash after clearing a Senate panel.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are just past 5:30 on Friday, March 1st. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. I know we got cloud cover issues, but hey, it's Friday, right? And I know it's chilly too, 28. You want to go back to what we had earlier this week, don't you? Well, don't worry. Know that infamous phrase? Patience is a virtue. It'll pay off because after we deal with the showers coming in, second half of the day, a 50-50 weekend. And once we get to Sunday and Monday look great before we turn unsettled for the middle of next week. Temps vary depending on where you are. Mid-20s in Manchester and Clintwood, but we're doing 33 at Jackson and 32 down your way at Harlan. The pinpoint Doppler radar, nothing right now. We look toward Nashville. Notice how the leading edge dried up a bit. I think that's a kind of a continuing trend. So that's why we're timing the showers out to come in midday through the afternoon. And a forecast high today in Hazard up to 49. More about the weekend forecasts coming up in just a few moments. Olivia?
Tim, thank you. Former Floyd County educator April Bradford was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison Thursday morning. Bradford pleaded guilty to sexual assault charges in November. She sexually assaulted Jessica Hensley and Mary Prater when they were students. Hensley and Prater gave victim impact statements. Hensley told us the healing process has had its ups and downs since.
Healing looks different to everyone, and it's definitely not linear like I had spoken about. I wax and wane with how well I do. But yeah, just always speak on what's right.
Bradford was also added to the sex offender registry. She has to serve 85% of her sentence before being eligible for parole. A grand jury indicted 2 women in Powell County in connection to a death investigation. Back on December 1st, deputies responded to a call and found a woman dead. Through investigation, they found that Deborah Wade and Mary Watkins were responsible. A grand jury indicted the 2. Wade is in jail facing wanton endangerment and trafficking charges. Police have not yet arrested Watkins. Police in Laurel County are asking for help identifying a theft suspect. Here's a picture of the suspect. The person is wanted for theft and vandalism off Wise Owl Road, about 8 miles from London. If you have any information about the case, you can contact the Sheriff's Office at 606-864-6600. A bill to keep adult businesses and performances away from children has cleared the Senate panel. It's Senate Bill 147. Supporters say a state law is needed in the wake of some performances, including those of drag queens that have been in the presence of small children. Opponents say it's an attack on the LGBTQ community, and the language in the bill is too vague and confusing. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from both sides of the debate.
There are local ordinances that deal with this kind of thing, but there's not a state law, and supporters say that is needed. They say there have been some cases in other cities where there were sexually explicit performances that took place where kids were present, and they say they want to keep this from taking place on a statewide level.
Statewide regulations of adult-oriented businesses are not uncommon in the United States.
Senator Tishner says Senate Bill 147 is modeled after one in Tennessee. It would prevent adult entertainment performances or visual representations displaying nudity or sexual conduct from being visible to minors. There's also language detailing drag queen performances where there is an exaggerated gender expression inconsistent with the biological sex of the performer.
It's not necessarily always about what someone is wearing. A lot of times it's the behavior of what they're doing.
Opponents say they believe the bill unfairly targets drag queens and their performances, and it's not just about behavior, it's about the people.
Why are we feeling the need to include drag separate from adult cabaret, other than the perception that the community gets, which is that you're trying to specifically control one art form?
The bill did pass with a final tally of 9-2. Those who voted against it were Democrats Karen Berg and Denise Harper Angel. Opponents say simply that they believe that there's too many gray areas in this bill, and it would be very, very difficult for some to enforce. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Businesses that are already established would have 5 years to comply with the bill if it becomes law. On Thursday, Governor Beshear gave an update on the effort to clean up hazards left behind on Kentucky mine sites. The cleanup started last year when Kentucky was awarded more than $74 million from the federal government's bipartisan infrastructure law. Governor Beshear says those funds are now being used to restore mine land across the state and create a safer, cleaner Kentucky.
These funds are helping us close dangerous mine shafts, reclaim unstable slopes, and improve water quality for our communities and our families.
The governor said yesterday that since the funds were announced last year, the Energy and Environment Cabinet's Division of Abandoned Mine Lands has completed or started work on 38 projects across 15 counties, totaling almost $45 million. Earlier this week, Kentucky's senior Senator Mitch McConnell announced he is stepping down as the Republican leader in the Senate. Some local leaders gave their thoughts on McConnell's decision. Here's part of a statement from London Mayor Randall Weddle. Quote, "I want to express my deep appreciation for Senator Mitch McConnell's distinguished service as the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. Under his leadership, we've seen unparalleled dedication toward advancing the interest of Kentuckians and Americans across the nation. I extend my best wishes for Senator McConnell as he enters the next chapter of his public service." And here's what Corbin Mayor Susie Rasmus had to say. Quote, I begin by offering my heartfelt condolences to the leader and Secretary Chow in the loss of their sister. The leader has been a longtime personal friend and a tremendous supporter of southeastern Kentucky. During my time as mayor, he has been instrumental in helping Corbin move forward. His influence in Washington on behalf of the Commonwealth cannot be overstated or duplicated. He will be missed. Hundreds gathered to remember former London Police Chief Bill Smith at his funeral yesterday. WYMT's RJ Johnson shares how people are continuing to honor him.
Friends and family gathered on Thursday to celebrate the life of Bill Smith. He served as London Police Chief and founded Ambulance Inc. of Laurel County. Hobie Doherty with the London Police Department says Smith had an impact on a lot of people throughout his life.
Just to see the amount of lives that he has touched throughout the years and really being in every part of emergency response and within Laurel County and helping get that to where we are today. He made one of the giant footprints in leading us to where we are and where we stand today.
Ambulance Inc. of Laurel County Director Jamie Mills says Smith loved his community.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how much Mr. Smith was loved and what type of guy he was. He had his fingerprint on the community at all times. He loved the community, and this goes to show right here.
Smith's granddaughter, Karen Jones, says the most important part of his life was faith.
But I think if you were to ask him, the most important title he held was follower of Christ. Papa spent the better part of 84 years dedicating his life to the Lord. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who knew him that hadn't heard him talk about his Savior.
Saying even in his final moments, he prayed for his family.
He was held up and Papa began to pray. He thanked God for his family. He asked God to bless his family and to bless the hands that prepared that food, and he asked the Lord to be with his family.
For Smith's last ride, it would be in one of the first ambulances for the ambulance service.
It was his special ambulance. One last ride. That's what he wanted, and that's what we'll do today.
and forever remembering Bill Smith. In London, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Smith leaves behind his wife, sister, 3 kids, 7 grandchildren, and 13 great-grandchildren. He was 84 years old. And still to come, 2 mega stars helped one movie chain's revenue hit more than $1 billion through exclusive releases.